This is Daily Armenia, ＳիվիլNeթ's Daily News Digest. Here's what's making headlines in Armenia today. Transport links passing through Armenian and Azerbaijani territory must open simultaneously for regional connectivity plans to function, Armenia's Deputy Prime Minister Mher Grigoryan said in an interview with the Armenian service of Radio Free Europe, discussing ongoing talks around the so-called Trump Route project. Of course, they must open in a synchronized manner, otherwise the system will simply not work fully, Grigoryan said, adding that the measure is part of agreements reached in Washington negotiations with Azerbaijan. He added that Yerevan and Baku are currently discussing technical details of transport infrastructure, including roads, energy connections, and a railway. According to Grigoryan, the most advanced work has been carried out in the railway link, restoring a Soviet-era line of roughly 42 kilometers in Armenia's southern Syunik region. He noted that other transit components require full design from scratch, since they did not exist during the Soviet period. Grigoryan said the planned railway route remains under discussion since 2021, expected to connect Yerevan with Syunik through Azerbaijan's Nakhichevan exclave. He stressed that all sides understand that infrastructure will only serve its purpose if fully connected, including that segment, which he described as crucial for strengthening regional logic. Grigoryan avoided specifying the order in which different infrastructure elements will be launched. He said timelines will be announced once the full project design is complete, arguing that announcing deadlines prematurely would be wrong. Armenia and Azerbaijan have been negotiating the unblocking of regional transport routes as part of broader talks on normalizing relations after the 2020 Nagorno-Karabakh war. US mediation has focused on developing transport projects linking Azerbaijan with Nakhichevan through Armenian territory, while ensuring reciprocal transit for Armenia across Azerbaijan. Armenian officials maintain that sovereignty and jurisdiction over infrastructure must remain fully respected on both sides. Neither Azerbaijani nor Georgian lawmakers are attending the Euronest Parliamentary Assembly forum that kicked off today in Yerevan, with Baku citing EU positions on the Armenia-Azerbaijan normalization as the reason for its absence. Azerbaijan's stance was announced by Tahir Mirkishvili, head of Baku's delegation to previous Euronest sessions. It is because of the statements of the European Parliament that do not contribute to the peaceful settlement process between Azerbaijan and Armenia and support those forces that are interested in continuing hostilities, Mirkishvili said, referring to a statement from August 11th, issued after the Washington-hosted Peace Summit. The statement, signed by Sergei Lagodinsky, a German politician who chairs the European Parliament's delegation to Euronest, among others, expressed support for progress on border delimitation and called for the full withdrawal of Azerbaijani forces from the territory of Armenia in the near future. It also highlighted the unresolved issues of Armenian detainees in Azerbaijan and the plight of displaced Karabakh Armenians. Armenia's other neighbor, Georgia, also opted out of the forum. Tbilisi has recently pursued a course distancing itself from closer integration with the EU, effectively halting its membership path. The government has pushed through laws criticized by EU officials as undemocratic and cracked down on protesters advocating the country's European future. Euronest is an annual interparliamentary forum bringing together members of the European Parliament with lawmakers from Eastern Partnership states, including Ukraine and Moldova. Azerbaijan was previously suspended from the assembly in 2015 over reported human rights violations, but has since rejoined and participated in later sessions. Armenia plans to encourage wider use of non-cash payments by introducing a 2% cashback on all transactions starting next year, Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan said during budget hearings yesterday. The refund will not apply to gambling expenditures and is expected to come with a monthly cap, similar to the current non-cash incentive program for seniors. Launched 3 years ago, the program currently caps refunds at around $15 per month. Cashback rates for elders will rise from 12 to 20% in 2026, as will the monthly limit. Armenia's payment infrastructure largely depends on the Armenian card system, which has suffered multiple nationwide outages in recent months, blamed on network problems. And as always, please follow CivilNet for the latest news and independent reporting from our contributors on the ground here in Armenia.